God, this is your second home or your first home?
Well, it depends. Sometimes it's my first home.
So Iggy, how did you get into the music industry world and become an amazing sound engineer?
I started as a guitar player. When I was 15 years old, I played professionally already in a big band in Argentina that played like big stadiums, like soccer stadiums, etc.
Wow.
So it was like a fusion jazz rock band, etc., called Arcoiris. So, but I was playing pretty much guitar for a lot of different bands and playing, you know, gigs in clubs, in big clubs, and so it was a natural progression to become more interested in the sound engineering of things, because before you had to spend maybe $1 million to have a setup that you can record, because the technology was not there, right?
Speaking of which, how did you put all this together? Like, how long did it take you to
Well, I have a degree in electrical engineering.
Oh,
so yeah, so I know how to connect things. I know how to troubleshoot, you know, all the electronics and fix things. So that's, and I'm very computer literate, so that helps.
That helps a lot. Like, this is a digital kind of board, right? Is
yes.
It like,
well, this is a controller that you can actually control. See, I'm controlling Pro Tools, which is my, and I can switch from different tracks. And this I can control. As you can see if I move that, you can see that screen moving.
Yeah.
So it's a controller, pretty much. It's a digital controller, which you can have a screen and you can have as a remote control, right? And you can arm tracks, you can move around, you know, do all play, you know, whatever.
Then the main monitor, is that what you pretty much start, you know, like use that as a guide, or all the editing? I know.
Well, mixing, right? This is your mixing board in your computer. That's your editing monitor, and over there, if I'm doing a movie, I will play the movie over there while I'm mixing.
That is really neat. Like when Iggy did the Brain Savers audiobook for us, he did the original composing and everything on that too, right? Sound engineer for that. And I was one of the voiceover actors, and I remember seeing him work from inside here and doing everything outside there. Was that was that whole experience like fun for you, Iggy, to do that?
Oh wow, I never did anything like it. It was my first time doing a project like that.
Wow.
It was, I mean, incredible. I when we finished, and you listen to the whole project, because when you first start doing it, you don't know where everything, you know, how it's going to end. The idea is that you always have to know where the project is going. What's the final, you know, what's the director vision in all the projects, because you may have your own vision, but the director is going some other way, and you have to agree with the director. You have to do, first you have to try what he wants, and then if he doesn't like what he wants, maybe you can suggest something at that point. But it's always, you know, like with a producer, usually you have to do what the producer likes.
You've worked for other companies, you have experience with other higher end companies.
Sure. I mean, I mixed full feature movies for independent and for big studios, and I work on the music. And I work mixing, you know, the music. It depends. Sometimes I write the music. Sometimes I have a composer here where we are mixing the music first, and then we place the music into the actual full feature film, and then we mix the whole thing.
You started off as a guitar player at 15. You got into, did you, like, the sound engineering, was that something like, was that you went somewhere and someone said, hey, why don't we, you know, did someone hire you?
Well, every time that you are in a band, you always go and do records, right?
Right.
Records, CD, whatever are now, or MP3s, whatever.
It's changed so much. Remember CDs and records
we
and
used to
cassettes?
do vinyls then. They were not even CDs when I started.
Wow.
So everything was vinyl, no CDs.
Okay.
And so you go to the studio. And you learn from being there and recording there many times. So you ask the engineer some questions, and then you learn a little bit as you go.
Okay.
Then you buy your first, when the first digital recorder came up in the market, which was an Alesis 8-track. It's called Alice's ADAT. So that was 8 tracks on a VHS tape. You can record 8 tracks of digital audio. Now, just listen though. Here you have unlimited tracks pretty much. You can have 100 tracks if you want. But there was 8 tracks. But you can do a lot with that. I mean, even the Beatles didn't record until the last album on 8 tracks.
Really?
Yeah, they were recording mainly on 4 tracks. So, but you do, you kind of do the 4 tracks, then you lay them over onto 2, and then you have 2 more tracks to, you kind of remix the 4 into 2, and then you have 2 tracks free to do some stuff, right? To overdubs. But anyway, so once that becomes available, a lot of people started having home studios, in your house.
Yeah, home recording studios, like voiceover actors.
You have, then you can add, you have 8 tracks. You can add a second one, you have 16 tracks of digital.
Wow.
So you can record almost to the same quality as the big studios can do when that happened.
Did you come from a family that was, in the industry of music, or is this something you just picked up yourself?
My dad loved music.
Okay.
And he listened to music all the time in the house.
That's awesome.
So he turned me on to classical music. He took me to the Teatro Colón, which is one of the big theaters of classical music in Buenos Aires.
In Argentina,
right? So he would listen to gospel music, Negro spiritual. He would listen to a lot of soulful music, and and I started listening to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Right?
Were they like your idol? Were they like?
Well, pretty much. I mean, I pretty much learned English with the Beatles, so I would read the lyrics that they come on the LP, right? And I will try to figure out what they mean, right? And I learned the pronunciation by listening to them. Nice. Now, my dad, listening to that music, he was going, I'm not sure. Music needs to have melody, harmony, and rhythm.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
they're still lacking on some of that. So, because, he loved classical music, all the major classical composers. So, but I think it was when Yesterday came out, and then he heard Let It Be. So then he says, see, they learn. See, now there is good melody, good rhythm, good harmony, and now they are pretty good.
So yeah, let's talk about your work on the Brain Savers.
Okay.
You got on board with that through. Did you know Matt Weinglass before that happened? Like, how long did you know him? Or
yes,
it was his idea to bring you on, or you wanted to?
Well, I mean, I work with Martin, with Martin, I guess, for the ones who know him as Martin.
Martin. Martin.
He did Tupamaros, and Matt was the producer, I believe.
And so he brought you on board, or you came on board for Brain Savers, and
yes.
That you said was a whole new experience for you, and knowing that, would you want to continue working on something like that again in the future?
Sure, very interesting. I mean, the final project came out incredible.
Fantastic,
I was very proud of the project, and I show it to a lot of people.
Okay.
And everybody's surprised that a big production like that with so many talented actors, talented performers. Yes.
I'm kidding.
And everybody very professional. So the project came out incredible. Yeah, I'm so proud of that.
Aww.
It was hard work, but it paid off.
So that must have been an experience for you to have like all these voice actors come in and seeing them from the minute they start to the end, their product, because we have to do it. When you're voice acting a project, especially like the audiobook we did Brain Savers, you have to do it, then we get direction from Matt, you have to do it again, sometimes a third time or a fourth time. So it's like, so when it all comes together and you pick the best takes of the actor, that must have been a unique process for you this time around.
Well, that part is similar to when you're singing, right? Because when you're doing a song, the singer or the artist will sing maybe a little part, then he he or she does the part again, does a different interpretation, and you keep all those takes. So then you have to edit with the best takes, which one fits better the song, right? And you always have to believe, right? Same thing with an actor. When a voice actor says the part or says the dialogue, right? You gotta believe what they're saying.
Right,
you
right.
know.
It's not always just, it sounds good. It's gotta be believable.
It's gotta be believable.
Feel
you
the
gotta
heart,
believe the lyrics of the song or of the line of the dialogue. You gotta believe what he's saying.
So you see voiceover actors, it's not always just, it's sounding good. It's gotta really feel
that you are the
genuine.
actual part.
Right,
Genuine.
that's amazing.
Correct,
Now,
Yes.
can you give us some samples of something you put together for us?
Sure. I mean, I can play the Brain Savers main theme and show you how you can change different things and make it sound completely different. You know, so you have a main theme and you can make it, you know, softer or a little bit more.
We all remember the main theme too.
Yeah.
Brain
So
Savers.
here,
Do
for
it.
example. The drums and the bass and the piano going on the strings. So, but what happens if you take the drums out?
Whoa! Whoa, that's a big difference.
So it sounds softer, nicer, not as hard. Again.
And it gives it that little pep.
So some synths there. Solo.
Yeah. And you did that all here, all in this. Wow.
Yeah.
This is all original, right?
Synthesizers here, guitars, bass, and so everything.
What a gift, Iggy, to be able to. It must be so much fun for you to like play with everything and figure out what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, or do you ever get like frustrated, or it's more like just enjoyment always?
No, it's enjoyment pretty much. So it's not, you know.
And that's the final. What advice, of course, what advice would you give for fellow up and coming music industry people who want to get into sound engineering or want to experience this for themselves?
Well, I would say to continue doing music, continue learning and practicing. That's always the learning is never ends. You know, learn a little bit at a time and then become, you know, do your own project. If you are a musician or you're not an engineer, just, you know, or you play maybe an instrument, try to record a little bit on the computer and do some overdubs. If you're singing, sing on top of what you wrote. And practice. That's you know, practice makes perfect. You can ask people at the music stores, you know, hey, I'm doing this. What's the best software? What's the best instrument? What's the best plugin? What's the best thing for what I'm doing, for example? And even the guy at the music store, maybe also himself a guitar player or a keyboard player or somebody says, hey, oh, you have a studio at your house? Yeah, I'm setting up something. You want to come over or something? So, So the relationship and the you know, public relations is something that you need to learn, and you need to relate to other people.
Absolutely.
And you know, because you're not just by yourself in this world. And you know, I learned a lot by being a fly on the wall.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so being a fly on the wall when you are in a project like this, or you are in one of the best bigger studios or something, just sit down on the couch, don't ask questions. you know, just watch.
Just observe.
Just
right?
observe. And that's the best thing you can do.